What's up, guys? It's Kenny here, and I want to welcome you to, if you're watching this on YouTube, welcome to the video. If you're watching this or listening to this on the podcast, well, what we're going to be covering today is the 4-step process that literally guarantees success in anything that you do in life. And I know that's like, oh, well, that's crazy. That can never be true. Everyone's not meant to be successful, or I can't do this thing. You're all wrong about that, by the way. Now, obviously, with certain things, there's maybe like a DNA issue, or maybe an age issue, or a physical issue, or like for example, when I say you can do anything as long as you follow these 4 steps. Well, if you're 85 years old in a wheelchair and you want to be in the NBA, that's not going to happen. Let's be a little bit realistic, right? But if you follow these steps and you want to increase your income, you want to have a better marriage, you want to quit smoking, you want to stop drinking, you want to stop doing drugs, you want to stop gambling, like whatever it is, right? You want to build a house, you want to tear a house down, whatever, it doesn't matter. These 4 steps are going to help you get there. So, number 1, brutal honesty. You have to be brutally honest with yourself. And I'm going to give a lot of vivid examples here, like I tend to always do. And that's just to illustrate what I'm trying to teach you and what the point I'm trying to get across. So, if I offend anyone, I really don't care, to be honest with you, but that's not my intention. My intention is not to offend you. My intention is to give you vivid examples so that you understand what I'm talking about. So it is very rare that you will ever meet someone who considers themselves a fat slob, right? Because usually if someone considers themselves a fat slob, what ends up happening is they change that very quickly and they're on the road to becoming healthy, fit, whatever. It is very rare. I'm trying to think of examples here because I don't pre-plan anything that I do here. I'm trying to think of if it's very rare that you're going to meet someone who is a full-blown alcoholic. Like they walk up to you and they say, I'm a full-blown alcoholic. Like I'm killing myself here. Like I'm just dying every single day. I'm dying. I just drink myself to death every day. You're not going to meet that person. But you'll meet a lot of people who say, I drink a little too much. Maybe I can cut back a little bit. You'll meet those people, but you'll never meet a full-blown alcoholic. Why? Because the full-blown alcoholic quickly realizes that, and they become a recovering alcoholic very quickly. Okay, and they refer to themselves differently. Same thing with the fat slob. You're never going to meet someone who's a fat slob, but you'll meet plenty of people who, maybe can lose a few pounds. Or maybe they're a little overweight, or maybe they could start exercising at some point, or maybe we should start that jogging routine, or maybe we should go to the gym once a week, or maybe we should change the diet, or maybe we should eat a little healthier. But you'll never meet someone who says, I'm a fat slob, because that person is on the road to changing the second they admit that. You'll never meet people who are dead broke. Like all the people that I've worked with, 200,000 people since 2007, entrepreneurs, students, salespeople, small businesses all across the world, big businesses here in the United States and over in Europe and places all across the world. It's very rare that you're going to meet someone who's like, listen, I am dead broke. Like I will do anything because I am dead broke. I have no other way to go. When I meet those people, and I have quite a few of them, when I meet those people, I turn them into machines literally in a couple days. Like it doesn't take that much effort for me. The hardest person for me to work with is the guy or the girl who makes $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year, depending on where they live in the country. And they're like, I could use a little more, but I'm not really up against the wall right now, right? I can use a little more, but it's going okay. Okay. So point number 1 is brutal honesty, because brutal honesty creates the pain that's going to force you to move. If you don't have that pain, you're not going to go anywhere, because here's the key. The pain, if you're not brutally honest with yourself, the pain of moving in a different direction is more than the pain you're experiencing. And the only way to get someone to change and move into a different direction is if they experience so much pain where they're at that they're forced to go away. Let me give you a little story. And she might watch this, so it is what it is. I don't think she'll mind me sharing this. It doesn't really matter. But I may get some of the details wrong, just so you know. But my grandmother, love my grandmother to death. She's amazing, an amazing woman. She's just great. And I could go on and on, and I could do a whole entire show just about her, probably. Maybe a whole new podcast just about my grandmother. But anyway, I'm trying to butter it up because I'm about to tell a story about her that I know she's probably listening, so I want to make sure that I could create a whole new YouTube channel just on my grandmother. But anyway, my grandmother didn't go to the doctor for a very, very, very long time. And I don't know how long it was, 40 years, whatever it was. She never went to the doctor. She was relatively healthy. I mean, flu every once in a while, or cold or whatever. But she was relatively healthy. And then I remember one morning, I went and I was in there and I saw that she was sitting there. My grandfather was standing next to her and they were looking at her leg. And I looked down at her leg, and her leg was basically had a hole in it. Like it literally had like a huge wound in her leg, like big cut in her leg. I was like, what's going on? Like, what happened? Like, what's the problem? And she said to me, I don't know, I remember the exact words. It's probably 5-6 years ago. And she said to me, she's like, I've had this here for so long, and it's gotten so bad that I got to go to the doctor today. And I'm really nervous about it, and I don't want to go and whatever. And like, I'm really upset about it. But I just, my leg is like, it has a huge cut in it. So did my grandmother just wake up and change her views on doctors? Did my grandmother just wake up and did her fear of doctors just disappear? No. My grandmother just got into such pain where she was that going to the doctor was less painful than the pain that she was currently in. And that's what made her change. You hear the same thing about people who are addicted to drugs and alcohol, right? You hear the bottom, like, where's the bottom? How do I get to that bottom? Well, the truth of the matter is we create our own bottoms, and we can create it at any time, right? So for me, if I don't drink at all, I don't do drugs at all, any of those things. For me, like if I all of a sudden started drinking like 2 or 3 beers a week, I would instantly be like, whoa, this is an issue. Like I gotta do something here because I can't do this, right? If my income goes down to a certain level, it's not like, I'm still okay. No, it's like panic mode, right? It's panic mode. As soon as it drops below a certain level, panic mode. So we have to be brutally honest with ourselves because that creates the pain, that creates the movement from where you are to where you want to go. That's step number 1. Step number 2 is finding a model that works. For most people, this is not really that difficult. This is actually the easiest part. Step 1 and step 3 is where people fail. Step 2 is not where people fail. With that said, step 2 is what gets the blame. And that's kind of interesting if you think about it. People fail in step 1 and step 3, but step 2 always gets the blame. Why? Because step 1 and step 3 have to do with you taking the blame. Step 2, which is the model, the process, the thing, hit my microphone, sorry, the thing, right? If you can blame that, well, then guess what? You're not the problem. And we hear it all the time. We hear it all the time, right? We'll say, oh, well, that diet program didn't work for me. Or that gym wasn't good for me. Or, that money course that I bought or the business course that I bought, that is a scam. That didn't work for me. That's just a scam and everyone's out to get me. They blame the model, not themselves. Okay, so we have to find a model that works. And I always tell people, too, that most of the time we already know the model that works, but we're not willing to do it. I take some of my coaching groups and stuff through an exercise which we call not willing or not working. And basically the exercise is just designed to show them that the models that we learn most of the time work 100% of the time, right? But now, if you're not willing to do it, well, that's a different story. If you're not willing to do it, there's nothing I can do to help you. But don't tell me it doesn't work. And I give examples of this all the time, right? Like if I tell someone, listen, you want a sure 100% guaranteed path to making more money in your life? Yes. Okay, good. So here's what you're going to do. For 300 times a day, you're going to pick up the phone and you're going to call random businesses and you're going to say, hey, my name is Kenny. I'm calling you because I build websites. They're $500 a piece. Do you want one? I can have it online within 24 hours. Yes or no. Now, you can say to yourself, and you'd be right, by the way, you can say, that sucks. That's miserable. I would never do that. That's crazy. That would take so much time. I'd get rejected. Everyone would say no. You could say all those things, but you can't say that if you honestly did that 300 times a day for 5 days, that you wouldn't replace, most people wouldn't replace their 9-to-5 income in 1 week, because they would. because I have coaching students that have done it. That's one of the exercises I take my coaching students with. That's like our warm-up. We call it the Craigslist warm-up pitch. That's the warm-up that I take my coaching students through when we're getting on the phone. I have coaching students that literally abandoned their business and started web design businesses because they started doing that. Okay, so that's a model that works. You may not be willing to do it, but it works. Same thing is true with I can't mention any of the names, or I can't mention any of the specific people, but I have friends and people that are close to me that are in Alcoholics Anonymous, right? I can't, again, it's anonymous, so I'm not going to say who they are. I'm not going to say anything about that. But I have friends that are in that program, and some of them are, relatively high up in that program. They've been in there for a long time, and so on and so forth. So there's, I don't know the numbers, hundreds of thousands of people. It could be more than that. I don't know. I'm not involved in it. But hundreds of thousands of people went through that program before the person who goes to their first meeting today, right? That person will probably, based on the statistics, probably drink tomorrow. They went to the program today. They'll probably drink tomorrow because that's just the statistics. Most people fail, right? Most people quit. That person will blame AA. They'll say that it wasn't for me, man. I didn't like the atmosphere. I didn't like the 12 steps are ridiculous. Too long. It's not going to work. Whatever. But the point is that he's just not willing to do it, or she's not willing to do it. So we have to find a process or a model that actually works. And then step number 3, we have to be disciplined enough to actually do it. Okay? Just finding the model doesn't do anything for you. You have to actually be disciplined enough to actually do it, okay? Step 2 and step 3, I was never really big into step 1 because I just didn't really think of it. I never made excuses for myself, so I didn't really need to do that. The reason why I am where I am, listen, first of all, I went to Connecticut High School. It's a dump. Second of all, I dropped out. I was like an idiot. I just dropped out of school. I was running around with kids and smoking when I was 15 years old. I dropped out of school. How did I get where I am? I got where I am because I realized, hey, I'm not smart enough to figure this stuff out on my own. So what do I have to do? I have to find other people that have done it before me, and then I have to go and just do that. Right now, I want to warn everybody here. I'm not saying to steal stuff from people. I'm not saying to copy other people. What I am saying, though, is if you own a bagel store, right, and you walk into the most successful bagel store in your area, and you see that the bagels are set up plain, cinnamon raisin, poppy, sesame seed, everything, egg, and then the case is set up butter, cream cheese, like whatever else. And then you walk into the second most successful bagel store, and it's set up the same way. And then you walk into the third one, and it's set up the same way. And you walk into the fourth one, and it's set up the same way. And you see the first one is advertising on Instagram, and the second one is advertising on Instagram, and the third one is advertising on Instagram, and the fourth one is advertising on Instagram. And you go out and you say, they don't know what they're doing. I'm going to put the cinnamon raisins first. I'm going to put the butter all the way down that side of the store. And I'm going to put the cream cheese up top here on this big shelf. And I'm going to advertise on Pinterest. Well, listen, if you do that, there's only one way I could put it. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. I mean, there's just no other way to do it. The model is there. Just follow the model. Now, I'm not saying go and steal their bagels and put it in your store. I'm not saying go and steal their cream cheese and put it in your store. See, a lot of people think that, right? When you're modeling other people, basic tenet of NLP, when you're modeling other people, people on the outside say, well, if you're modeling that person's headline, you're stealing from them. No, stealing would be copy, paste, my page, done. That's not what we're doing. What we're doing is we're modeling the structure and the formula and the process, okay? That's what we're doing. So step number 2, find a model that works, which all of us already know for the most part. Look, you want to lose weight? Eat less, move more. Not that difficult, right? Not that difficult. People don't want to do it. They'd rather watch American Idol. They'd rather watch Skating with the Stars or whatever the hell it's called. This one where you spin around in the chair. And then they vote for 3 hours after. That's what they'd rather do. So you know what? I can't blame them for being a fat slob because, again, they're not being honest with themselves. They think that everything's okay. They think they're not that overweight. They think they're not that unhealthy. They could deal with it. It's not a big problem. They have a model. They know. They know you eat less, move more, burn more calories than you take in. You'll be good. You'll lose weight eventually, right? Maybe there are quicker ways to do it, but that's a proven model over centuries. If you do that, it's going to work. But then number 3 comes in. which is discipline to take daily action towards the goal in accordance with the model that you just set out, that you just found out, right? So a lot of people just go action, 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 action. No, that's wrong. Action daily in accordance with the model that you learned. It's not just act like a crazy person. It's action daily according to the model that you just learned. So if you found somebody, and I use the weight loss thing because sadly in the United States, most people are overweight, and it's an example that most people can relate to. I can't because I've been 140 pounds since I was in 10th grade, but most people can. So action. The people who are successful at becoming healthy, 200 pounds, 100 pounds, right? They went from 200 to 100. They went from 300 to 150, whatever it is. Those people do things on a daily basis. They don't get up in the morning and go for a run once a month. They don't eat broccoli. Famous Tony Robbins line. I'm going to steal it here. Give him credit for it, though. They don't eat broccoli once a day and call themselves once a year and call themselves healthy, right? They do it daily. And the best of the best of the best in any industry in the world, they do it every single day. People that you know, right? Hockey players, baseball players, football players, basketball players. Do you think they play basketball once a month? Do you think they do it for 3 days and then stop? Do you think they do it for a week and then take a break? They do it every single day. And guess what? They've been doing it every single day for their entire lives. Same thing is true with these overnight successes that came out of nowhere. You think they've come out of nowhere because you haven't been paying attention. But the bottom line is Uber is like a 10-year overnight success. Facebook is similar, a shorter period of time, but similar. I've been doing my business since 2007. I don't think anyone knew who the hell I was till about 2014 or 15. So do you have the discipline to act even though people are not paying attention to you, even though you're not seeing results right away, even though you're not getting the results that you want? This is a perfect example. I'm putting up I never paid attention to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is basically a content, like a host for me. I'd put it into training programs, stuff like that. I'm sitting here doing videos like this. 200 people are going to watch this video. 250 people max. Okay. I'm kind of good at what I do. I'm giving really good advice here. I'm giving really good content here. 200,000 people should get this video, but they're not going to. Does that mean I'm going to stop acting though? No. I'm not going to give you the exact numbers on this, but my podcast doesn't have many listeners. If you listen on the podcast show here, it doesn't have many listeners. It has a good amount for someone who's just starting out at it. I mean, it really does, and I'm actually kind of surprised. But not a lot. I mean, it's not, in the top 10 or whatever. None of that. Does that mean I'm going to stop doing it? No, because you have to act in accordance to the model. These are both proven models. If you put good content on YouTube, you do it consistently, and then you do the right description and the right title and everything else, it works, and it'll work over time. You just got to put the time in to do it, and you'll see the result. Same thing with a podcast. Put good content in, eventually it gets out to the right audience, people share it, people follow you, people subscribe, people rate you and comment and all that kind of stuff, and then eventually it catches on. Step number 4, you have to have insane amounts of awareness. But be careful with this one because this turns people into quitters too quick, okay? Go back to the example that I had before when I told you about the 300 calls a day thing. Let's say you follow that example, right? Let's say you do that. And if you're watching this and you want to do that, well, do it. Get in touch with me. Leave a comment below this video, or if you're on the podcast, go to kennycannonpodcast.com, contact us and let us know. And I will help you do this. I'll help you get started with this. It's very simple. But let's say you're going to do this, right? You call 300 people a day from Craigslist service section, and your pitch is basically, hey, my name is Kenny. I'm calling from XYZ Marketing Company out in New York. Can you hear me okay? Yes, I can hear you. What's up? Great. The reason for the call is I saw your Craigslist ad, didn't see a website, wasn't too sure about it. So I build websites. They're $500. I can have it online within 24 hours. Do you want one? That's it. That's the whole entire script, right? And you just bang away on the phone all day long doing that. Let's say you do that for 2 weeks, and you're honest. 300 calls a day for 2 weeks. That's, 1,500, that's 3,000 calls. No, 5-day work period. If you don't sell any websites at all, it might be time to start looking for something else, right? That's awareness. See, people don't, if you get to the point where you're brutally honest, where you have a model that works, where you're acting and you're disciplined enough to act daily according to the model, that comes, the problem then is people don't have awareness because they're worried about quitting, right? If I'm not afraid to quit. I am not afraid to, listen, I understand the whole never quit attitude. I understand all that, but that's a life thing. That's an overall thing, right? We have to be able to cut out certain habits or tasks that aren't serving us. And I'll give you an example. Yesterday, 2 days ago, actually, there was a big race in my town, right? A month before the race, I'm like, I'm running that race. I am going to run that race. I don't care. I'm doing it. I am not a runner. I am not a racer. I'm not any of those things. But I'm going to do it because I want to. It's an accomplishment. 2 days after I started, looking at it, I drove the route, and then I was getting my plan ready to train, and I contacted different people who have went from 0 to, it was a 10K race, 0 to 10K, couch to 10K, all those things, and I looked at the plans. I didn't have 12 weeks to get it done. I'd do it in a month, but I looked at the plan. 2 days after I started doing this, I said to myself, is this actually serving me? I'm spending 2 hours a day trying to get ready for this. Is this actually serving me? What value am I getting out of running this race? I'm going to invest 1 month, 30 days, 2 hours a day, 60 hours of training. And what am I going to get out of it? What value am I going to get? Should I take those 60 hours and put it into recruiting more JV partners? Should I take those 60 hours and put it into creating podcasts and YouTube videos? Should I take that 60 hours and cold call prospects and try to get them to buy from me? Should I take those 60 hours and maybe come up with a new webinar program? Should I take those 60 hours and maybe learn, YouTube ads or learn something new? Should I take those 60 hours and do and on and on and on and on and on, right? Because I was hyper aware, I understood that what I was doing wasn't going to serve me in the long term. It didn't provide me with any value. So I quit. That day. I'm like, I can't figure out here what the value is in running this race. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't understand it. So I'm stopping it. Now, again, from the outside looking in, people will say, oh, well, you're a quitter. You tried, you said you were going to do it. You never did it. No, I quit because I understand time for value. If my time is 60 hours over the course of a month, I could spend those 60 hours in a better way to give myself, my life, my family, everyone around me more value. And that's why I stopped. Without awareness, I wouldn't have had that. The other part of awareness is this. You have to know what's working and what's not. I kind of hinted at this before when we were talking about the 300 call thing. But if you are, again, I'll use the weight example. If you're 300 pounds and you want to get to 200 pounds or 150 pounds or whatever, and you start diet A and you've been there for a month and you're like 299 pounds, it ain't working. Do something else, right? If you are 300 pounds trying to get to 150 and you go to diet B and it's not, you're not seeing any results, go to something else. So we have to be hyper aware. And if the awareness tells us that what we're doing isn't working, what do? We go back to step 2, find another model that works, discipline ourselves to take crazy amounts of action, and we become hyper aware of what we want, what the results are that we're seeing or not seeing, and then change our approach based on that. All right, guys? So the 4 keys to be successful literally at anything you want to do. It doesn't matter what it is. Brutal honesty. That's where you start, okay? People will say, I have to hit my bottom. I have to do this. I lost everything and now I can do it. Listen, you can create your own bottom if you're just brutally honest with yourself. Stop using softeners to make yourself feel better, okay? It's not working for you. It's not working for your family. It's not working for anybody. Stop using softeners. Brutal honesty with yourself. You don't drink too much. You're an alcoholic. You're a loser. You're a drunk. You're losing everything in your life. You're going to die. I remember one time I was talking to a group of alcoholics, recovering alcoholics. And I'm not, again, I can't go into like who this was about or whatever. I'm not going to do that because Alcoholics Anonymous, right? So I'm not going to do any of that. But I was called up to give a coin. They give like coins for, I think, 6 months or a year or whatever it is. They give coins out. That's like an accomplishment to the thing. And like 5 minutes before before the guy was about to give the coin or get the coin. He was like, I want you to do my talk. And I was like, oh, okay. He's like, can you do it? Like, what? I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't know if you'll ever get invited back after I talk to him, but certainly I could do it. I mean, that's fine, whatever. You can wake me up at a dead sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I could do a speech in front of 1,000 people. That's where I live. I live on stage. I live in front of an that's where I'm my best. So I'm like, yeah, I'll do it, whatever. I said to him, listen, when I was doing my talk, I said a whole bunch of things, but I said the main point was basically what I just told you guys, right? You got to be brutally honest with yourself. You have to have a model that works, and you got to be disciplined into doing it. 12 steps are right on the board right there. If you buy a gym membership and you don't go, you're still going to be fat. The model's right there. Just do it. And then I said to him, outside that door is death. Inside this room is life. You got to choose what you want to do. You want to die? Leave. You want to live? Stay. That's brutal honesty. That's what I was doing there, right? Brutal honesty. It's not, I could skip it today. No, you can't. With that, no, you can't, right? I could take tonight off. Nope. I have another friend. This was a different person. I have another friend who literally will tell me at an hour before his AA meeting, he will be like, I got to go to AA or I'm going to kill somebody. And this guy's been in this program for a long time. He's like, I got to go to AA or else I'm just ready to murder someone. I'm like, all right, man. Figuratively speaking. No, he doesn't really seriously murder anybody. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. But brutal honesty. That's step number 1. Step number 2, a model that works, period. Model that works, okay? Step number 3, discipline to act in accordance with the model. And step number 4, hyper awareness. You have to understand what provides you value and what doesn't provide you value. You have to understand what's working and what's not working. Whatever doesn't provide you value in your life, your family, your friends, whatever, cut it. Cut it, okay? When we talk about never quitting, when we talk about never giving up, we're talking about life, not specific things inside of life. We're supposed to quit specific things that aren't working for us, that aren't providing us value, that aren't helping us in any way. We're supposed to cut them off. If we don't cut them off, we're just an unproductive person. We have to cut them off, okay? So brutal honesty, find a model that works, do it daily, and then become aware as what's working and what's not working. And whatever's not working or not serving you or not providing you value, change it up and go back to the model again, find a new one, and move forward. That's all for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know in the comments below if you're watching on YouTube. And in the podcast, you can go to KennyCannonPodcast.com and you can subscribe there. You can also leave us all comments, and you can also get the show notes from today's episode. YouTube guys, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment below, and you can share it if you'd like to. Podcast people, if you're not on the YouTube channel, you should go. YouTube people, you guys over there. If you haven't listened to the podcast yet, I'll link it below, and you guys can subscribe there, and you can listen to it as well. All right, guys, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, let us know.